Sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
Everybody, it is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Listen, Saturday morning, it is the Celebration Bowl, and I am ecstatic about it with Prairie View winning the SWAC championship. They'll be taking on South Carolina State today. Of course, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I'm at because last night, Southern University participated in the Band of the Year. And right now, I'm getting ready for the full day of the Celebration Bowl ahead of us. I hope you guys had a great week as we get into December. My birthday was this week, December the 10th. My birthday was on Wednesday. I'm going to ask Mike to put that cash out. Put my cash out in the comment section, Mike, when you get a chance to. We're going to pin it up for everybody out there. If you just want to buy me a cupcake or, I don't care what you buy me. If you just want to buy me a bag of chips, if you got that cash out, it is $ PWHITE 1210. That is simply it. You can buy me a cupcake. You can buy me a Kit Kat bar. You can buy me whatever. It is $ PWHITE 1210. Hope everybody's having a great morning thus far. Of course, I'm an hour ahead over in Atlanta. You guys are an hour behind Central Standard Time. I'm Eastern Standard Time. My man Mike back in the studio, listening to me very well. I'm making sure that we're good with the audio today, and I'm making sure that you guys are going to be well entertained this week as we head into the Celebration Bowl, the Band of the Year, all of these things that are taking place over in Atlanta. I get a chance. My daughter is out here in Atlanta at New Manchester High School. I'm ecstatic about just, as a father, my daughter has been accepted to Southern University. She'll be at Southern next fall. And so, so I get a chance to spend some time with her out here. Of course, we're all about to get together for the holidays, for the Christmas. But, to come out to Atlanta, Atlanta means something to me. It was a place where I spent some time at in my life. And, I have a child out here, my daughter. She's a senior at New Manchester High School doing her thing and getting ready for college next year, still growing and learning and figuring it out. Kids are going to be kids. Many of you out there, you got your kids and hey, I was once a kid. we got to live. We got to learn. Hey, ain't none of us perfect, and I love my daughter to death. I love her to death. Amore is her name, and she'll be over at Southern next year. So, she'll be in Baton Rouge right there with me. But listen, you go do your own thing. Look, I don't want to. Hey, do not think you're going to be at my house eating up all my food. You're going to have to survive just like I had to survive. When you're hungry, hey, what you going to do about it? What you going to do about it? That's all how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, I'm glad to be here with you guys as the week is rolled on. This show today, I'm going to have Coach Carlos Funches. We're going to talk about Southern University women's basketball team. I mean, just the incredible things he's doing as the head ball coach over at Southern. We're going to have my man John Grant come on this morning. He's going to talk to us about the Celebration Bowl. For any of you guys out there that are looking to make it to the game today, or if you're not able to make it to the game, you're going to want to watch it on television. And then my boy Blue, of course, we're going to break down the big game. We're going to look back at the SWAC. We're going to talk about a little Marshall Faulk, Southern University, and football and where it's headed. And that's the show for today, just settling in to now getting ready to say football season isn't over. And are you guys ready to put football season behind you? I kind of am. I'm over it a little bit. I think the season that we've had, the way it's gone for Southern, now we're in this wait and see with Marshall Faulk. I'm over it. I'm ready to go ahead and put it behind us, watch a little basketball, head into the spring, and then see where we go from there. That's what I'm ready for. Mike say he getting me straight on the stream. It's the $ PWHITE 1210. So if you're on the stream, you see it. I appreciate you, Mike, because I'm looking at it on my phone as I'm doing the show with you guys, and I appreciate it. And it was a happy belated birthday for myself. I spent my birthday traveling, coming over here to Atlanta with the band. Here for the band of the year. Got to support. The one thing, shout out to the Southern University Marching Band. Start in the A and end in the A. Who would have thought the band was going to be the first one to do it, not the football team? I got to give a shout out to Dr. Kedrick Taylor and the entire staff of Southern University Marching Band for what they've done. Also, high school state championships today. The big game down in the Superdome, everybody's going to be looking at St. Aug versus Edna Carr. Now, for years, I called them St. Augustine. But now I realize it's St. Augustine. But I watched that game last week as they took on John Curtis. And that game was one hell of a game in which St. Aug went down the field and scored as time expired to win that game against a tradition-rich program in John Curtis. St. Aug's first state championship appearance since the 70s. Can you believe that, ladies and gentlemen? The 70s. So a long time coming. Edna Carr, in recent times, we know this is what they do. They go to state championships. They compete on the highest level. And this is a game of two schools coming out of New Orleans, going to have that Superdome rocking today. And I know it's going to be big down there in New Orleans. Wish I could be there, but I'm over in Atlanta for another big game, the Celebration Bowl. And I know you guys are tuned in this morning. And I appreciate you guys. And Mike is back in the studio in Baton Rouge. Mike, I think I'm an hour ahead, but it's looking like we got to take a break. So because of that, I'll take one. And you guys stay tuned. We'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
By Carlos Funches' group. He's in his 8th season at Southern. Actually been on campus for 21 years with the program. Anywhere in the SWAC to win an NCAA tournament game.
Well, that pressure caused a turnover for Arizona.
Oh, nice bucket by Porter. Arizona in its 53rd season of basketball, trying to defend in the paint, and that is just tough to defend off the window. Porter.
You put it on the ground as a post player. I always said no more than one dribble, but it's just show and go, and she said, give me the ball.
Tate inside, beautiful pass, finished by Hall. The Lady Jags is set. Nice take by Lagway. Came up short. Cam Kitchen all alone. She's not going to miss from there.
Yeah, she took off, you know.
This is with leading scorer Hurston being held to just 2 points. That triple is good. Tremendous make and take by Arizona with an opportunity to add to its 6-0 run.
That was a really nice basket by Delancey, and Arizona forced a lot. Oh, that was a great basket by Francois.
Nice answer by Arizona.
If they can on the sideline, there it is, and there it is.
Cunningham gives it up. Purdue pushing pace.
And a foul. If they can on the sideline, there it is, and there it is.
Cunningham gives it up. Purdue pushing pace.
And a foul. And a foul.
Too strong. Francois board. Short. Francois again up and in.
Big basket there by Francois following her own miss.
By Carlos Funchess' group. He's in his 8th season at Southern. Actually been on campus for 21 years with the program. Anywhere in the SWAC to win an NCAA tournament game.
Well, that pressure caused a turnover for Arizona.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. It is bright and early on a Saturday morning. I'm over in Atlanta. I'm an hour ahead, but everybody back in Central Standard Time. Good morning. It's just past the 7 o'clock hour. And listen, it's time to talk some SWAC women's basketball, and the hottest coach right now out there. Got to be, not only is the hottest coach, he's also the coolest guy on the other side of the pillow. It's my man, Coach Carlos Funchess, the head women's basketball coach at Southern University. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Perry. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Coach. You know, look, man, big fan of yours. Of course, you know this, but at the end of the day, you just played Suno last night. But we got to talk about the 2 back-to-back Big 12 victories going on the road at Arizona. I had talked to you last week as you guys were boarding the bus to head to head to Houston. And you go over there in Houston, you don't trail in this game and you walk away with a victory. Let's just talk about the impact of what this does for this program of women's basketball at Southern University and what you and your staff have been doing to find success this past week.
Well, I thought the young ladies came out with the mindset of we can win this basketball game. And they knew what it was going to take. You had to execute on both ends of the court. Defensively, I thought we were extremely good, probably for 3.5 quarters. I mean, we did a really good job on their best players and kind of stifled them and gave us an opportunity to get some easy buckets by creating some turnovers and things like that. But I thought, the mindset was go win this game. And I thought they really had the confidence to think that they could win the game. So, that's one thing when you lose a few games, sometimes you have doubt in your mind. But I thought they had the confidence level to where it needed to be and come out and score some points. That's one of the biggest things that we've been struggling at, scoring points at times. But I thought we could hold them to around 60 points, same as Arizona. And we held them to 62. And then we scored 70 points. If we score 70 points, we have a good opportunity to win most of our games.
Let's go back and look at this game in both games. And you talked to me about the young ladies who have really stepped up for you in this team early on in this non-conference season.
Yeah, I thought that Demaya Porter did a tremendous job on both ends of the court. I think she had 9 points, I think, and 6, 7 rebounds. She did an outstanding job. It was a balanced attack. I thought Jalea Reed, she had 8 points, but 2 key threes when they were trying to make a run down the stretch. And that just kind of gave us a lift and got us over the hump, I thought. DeShante Edwards, I think she only had 4 or 5 points, but defensively, man, I'm telling you, she is a beast. And she shut down their best player. Michaela Cunningham, she was solid at that point guard position. I mean, everybody that came in, Zaria Hurst, I mean, she did a tremendous job as well. Olivia Delancey, she led us in scoring. And she's very capable of scoring 20 points in games. So it was good to see her get off to a good start and score a few points, but her confidence level is coming up. And Damani Lagway. I mean, she's another one of the newcomers. I mean, I just can't say enough about all of them. Jocelyn Tate, she's another young lady that did a great job of returning from last year. But everybody contributed, and it was a team effort.
Talk about, you can't do it by yourself. And you have a great staff. And, we always know it's a rotating door when you get opportunities when you're a coach on the staff. But let's talk about your staff, man, and how much they really work with you to develop these young ladies and get them prepared for these big games in which we've seen you guys win those 2 on the road at Arizona and at Houston.
Well, I mean, Jeremy Bolden, he's my defensive coordinator. So we sit down and make sure we have a solid defensive plan every game. We might make adjustments from time to time, and we bounce things off each other and kind of figure out the best way to guard teams. Now, Coach Patrice Carter, I would call her my special teams person. She runs the out-of-bounds plays. She calls most of those and does a tremendous job. And, off the court, she does an amazing job in our academic department. I mean, we have a 100% graduation rate over the last 7 years. We have a young lady that's about to graduate here at the break in December, Nia Gordine. So, I mean, everybody steps in and feels in where they need to make sure that this team is in the right place each and every game. Coach TJP, of course, he helps on both sides of the basketball. And, I'm just blessed to have a great staff and people that go in and work extremely hard.
Talking about a staff that works extremely hard, you work extremely hard, man. How has this journey been for you to watch this program year in and year out? Like, this is something to build upon, because not only did you get this victory so far in non-conference, but we got to go back to the big victory last year when you guys won in the first 4 in the NCAA tournament. You're constantly doing things to elevate this program. And for you, your overall plan and mission for this program, as you start to check things out off the box and see that this program is headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, we do a good job of identifying the right people we want in this program. Some high-character young ladies that's going to come in and be selfless and work together and work as one. And I think we have another group like that. We had to replace 9 players from last year, and it's really tough, especially in this age of the transfer portal. You want to be really particular about who you bring into your family. And I want young ladies that's going to represent, Southern University well, and we've been fortunate enough to be able to choose the right young ladies. And, we're just getting started. What we did the last couple of games, is good, but our ultimate goal is to be able to win a regular season SWAC championship and cut down the nets in Atlanta. But it's a lot of hard work that goes into this behind the scenes. I mean, these young ladies come in and work tirelessly each and every day. I mean, they started back in June the 3rd. They sacrificed vacations and things like that to be here, working, trying to get better, and everybody pulling in the same direction to win a championship.
For you, when you look at this program right now, of course, non-conference comes with injuries and everything else. How are you looking currently with this team in terms of injuries and everything else to make sure that this roster is healthy currently?
Well, that's one thing about having depth. We played without Jessica Dixon the other night. She had a back injury, but she had a great game at Arizona. She hit 2 big threes to keep us rolling. When they made a run, she stepped up. She got a steal at the end of the game the other night, actually to clinch it. But she had a back injury. She couldn't play. So Kiana Wilson, she stepped up. So, each and every night it might be somebody different to have to step up. And, they cheer for each other. They're not selfish. They're selfless. And it doesn't matter who gets the credit or who scores the point. They just want to win. That's the kind of players that you want. They're going to go out and compete regardless of what the score is. We're going to battle to the end, and when the horn goes off, look up and see who wins the game. So, that's what we're going to try to continue to do.
Listen, I tell you, I've been making these posts on social media every time you get a win, and I put upset alert. I'm not putting upset alert anymore. It ain't no upset at this point. Once what you guys have been doing, no longer an upset. It's just what you do moving forward.
Well, that's what I tell the young ladies. Don't forget what got you to this point. Don't read your own press clippings and things like that. Just go out and work and continue to try to get better each and every day because, this thing could go south at any point if you start getting what the old people said, the big head.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to get that. We're just going to continue to work hard and be humble and thank God for our blessings.
And that's what I like about you, Coach, because, I was listening to the commentator at the Houston game, and one of the commentators said, Coach Funches sure do look like he's a fun coach to play for. And, you gaining this reputation for you, the way that you're perceived compared to the work that you do, how do you take that?
Well, this is just my personality. I am me. Some coaches, are really boisterous and things like that. But, I just want to go out and want to do the best that I can for these young ladies and try to help them accomplish their goals, and try to teach them and nurture them on and off the court and make sure that they get their degree, number one. And that's one thing I'm more proud of than all the championships is that we have a 100% graduation rate over the last 7 years. And I don't think many schools can boast and say that they have a 100% graduation rate. And that's not because of Coach Funches, but that's because of the work that they put in, both on and off the court.
Baylor, SMU are coming up on the schedule to round out non-conference, man. When you look at those two programs, what do you see?
I mean, Baylor, they have a good opportunity to make a Final Four, for sure, an Elite Eight. They're one of the better teams in the country. I watched them play a couple of times early. A friend of mine is on the coaching staff over there. SMU, I hadn't seen much of them. I'm going to have to watch some game tape. I know Coach Adia Bourne, whose father actually played baseball here at Southern University. She's the coach currently over there. So she does a great job. She came in from Arizona. So it's going to be a tough task. And, we're just going to put our head down and keep grinding. And like I say, when the horn goes off, we look up at the scoreboard and see who won.
Your message to the Jaguar Nation out there in terms of what you are building and what you have built at Southern University and this new group of young ladies that are making sure they continue the tradition of making sure they're champions at Southern. Your message to the Jaguar Nation.
Well, we're going to put some young ladies out on the court that they can be proud of, both on and off the court. They're going to do a tremendous job in the community, and they're going to get degrees. We have some really smart young ladies that work hard. And, their work represents what they do out there on that basketball court. And hopefully we can get a championship for them.
I hope you can get one for us all, Coach. Once again, everybody, that's the voice of Coach Carlos Funches. He is the head women's basketball coach at Southern University, turning some heads and getting some national attention. Southern knocking off back-to-back Big 12 foes in Arizona and Houston. Coach, I appreciate you for taking the time to come on this morning, and thank you for all that you do and the success that you continue to build at Southern University, and not just on the court, but making sure that you develop these young ladies to be more than basketball players, that they go off and be productive people and graduates of Southern University and great alums. I appreciate you for all that you do, Coach.
Thank you, my friend. And look, we're going to be playing, like I say, up at Baylor and SMU. If any of the fans in that area and they want to come to the game, make sure they shoot us an email, and we have some extra tickets. We'll leave them for them.
Thank you, Coach. We'll make sure we spread that word.
All right. Thank you, Perry.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. That's the voice of Coach Carlos Funches. He is the head women's basketball coach at Southern University. Let's get ready to take a break. Mike back in the studio. Let's do it, Mike. We'll be back more at the Jaguar Journal.
And Southern trying to make it 2 straight wins against a Power 4. As we see the Houston starting 5, Kiera Merchant is not available today. It's Peguero, Jones, Hunter, Pitt. Hunter hits the 3.
Let's see if they can get a kill. Try to get 3.
Hurston.
All right. All right, everybody, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Good morning to everybody back in Baton Rouge listening. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia this morning. I'm an hour ahead, so don't be jealous. I've already had breakfast while you're just getting up. But at the end of the day, we're getting the day started. It is the Celebration Bowl today, and nobody better than talk about the Celebration Bowl, who is going to be the champion of the SWAC in Prairie View and the champion of the MEAC in South Carolina State than my man, the executive director of the Celebration Bowl, John Grant. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Perry. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Getting the day started. Hey, this is what you've been working for the whole year, and now it comes down to the big game, and I got to ask you, how are you?
Perry, this is the best day of the year right now. This is the opening of the college football bowl season, and we open it right here in Atlanta with the Cricket Celebration Bowl. And two champions, man. Champion from the MEAC, South Carolina State, taking on the champion from the SWAC, Prairie View A&M. What a great day.
What a great day. I had an opportunity to participate in the Celebration Bowl coaches call back on Monday to start the week off, and had a chance to talk to Coach Tremaine Jackson as well as Chennis Berry. Both guys I got a lot of respect for because of what they've done to build their teams into programs, and that's what Tremaine Jackson in year one is doing, and Chennis Berry in year two. For you had an opportunity to hand both these guys that, as we say, like on the movie Willy Wonka, the golden ticket to Atlanta, right? You traveled up to Delaware for that championship game between Delaware State and South Carolina State, and you were over in Jackson to see Prairie View and Jackson State. Let's start with the first golden ticket you gave out. Delaware State versus South Carolina State up in Delaware, man. What was that experience like for you to watch those two teams and at the end of the day hand Chennis Berry and South Carolina State that invitation to the Celebration Bowl?
Man, it was a tremendous game. What a great day. Very hard-fought football game. My hat went off certainly to Delaware State and their coach first year. You're talking about someone that's really done a great job with that program. But it was really a little surreal when you're giving away or you're presenting an invitation on the visitors field. But South Carolina State, they earned that one, and we were delighted to extend that invitation to them there.
You're talking about on the visitor field. You did it again in Jackson, Mississippi, with Prairie View and Tremaine Jackson pulling it off, man, in a big upset, as many would say. In year one, he's won the SWAC West, the Coach of the Year, and now the SWAC and get that berth into the Celebration Bowl. And you were able to give that to him, that golden ticket right there in Jackson, Mississippi, on a visitor's field once again.
Absolutely. And, this is the first time since they've been doing the SWAC championship, hosting it at, on the host campus, that the host team has lost. So it was a little bit surprising, but again, what a great football game. Those guys really fought hard, and it was exciting for us to be able to once again give away or an invitation, to the HBCU National Football Game, a championship game that's happening today.
As we talk about this game that's happening today, things are going to kick off. Look, we're already Eastern Standard Time. It is a little past 8:30 where we at 7:30 back Central Standard Time. This game is going to kick off at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard, 11 o'clock Central Standard. Everything else behind it, wake up and turn that channel and make sure you watch the Celebration Bowl. But for you, what are all the events getting ready to jump off this morning?
Well, in just a few minutes, we'll be opening up with the Coca-Cola Fan Experience here and in the Georgia World Congress Center in Building C. And we have an exciting lineup that's happening there this morning. And this is a little bit different for us because historically we've had that outdoors pregame. This year is the first year that it's inside, and it's something you don't want to miss. We're going to have the band jamboree from the college bands. We got a surprise entertainer, someone that people are really going to want to hear performing this morning. So want people to come on down for that. And then, of course, at 12 noon, the big game kicks off featuring these two champions.
As we talk about the preparation of this, talk about, you have a tremendous staff of people who have been working all year long for now this great stage to be set for a national audience to watch it and fans to fill a dome. And for you, your staff and the preparation to work for people out there who don't know what it's like to put on a bowl What is that for you and your staff?
Well, I have to take my hats off to them and really the hundreds of volunteers that give their time to help us pull this experience together. I like to say, Perry, that we're not putting on football games. We're creating experiences for people. And so we focus very much on the content that this game is about, the fact that it has to be at a high level to be broadcast nationally on ABC. And it has to be the kind of experience that people would want to come and be a part of, that they want to spend their money to be a part of, to create a great experience, first and foremost for the student athletes. They've earned the opportunity to be here. And then the kind of content which you're in the business of with what you do, but the kind of content that people would want to tune in and for us and watch, just like they do for you to listen.
As I continue to, each and every year, I'm excited when it comes down to this because, of course, if we're in this space, Black college football, but for you, aside from Black college football, you're the first bowl on television today. So you jump off the bowl season.
Right. We sure do. And that's one of the beautiful things about, the Cricket Celebration Bowl, that we do open the college football bowl season. And, those are the most watched weeks of college football during the bowl and to the season. And so, to be able to kick it off here in Atlanta with the HBCU National Championship is really a wonderful thing for all of our universities. And so all of the alumni and fans and supporters of HBCUs, we're telling you, Atlanta is the place to be. If you haven't been to the Cricket Celebration Bowl, and I know you have, Perry,
mm-hmm.
I tell people it's sort of like crack. Once you've done it, you've got to come back to it again. So we're here. Come on down. Enjoy it. And know that it's something that you're certainly going to be a part of wanting to have again.
Oh, man. You got me with that one. I was about to bust my gut. John, you got me with that one, man. Listen. Oh, man, listen, let's talk about the national exposure with the audience that you're going to have all over the country. As we talked about, it's going to be 12 noon here in just a moment in Atlanta, but people out on the West Coast are going to be waking up to this game, and all across the country, this is going to be the only game on for people to watch from college football and to have that national exposure on national television. Talk about your partnership with the networks and why that is important as well for any institution, not just the institutions, but the conferences as well that participates in this game.
Well, we are fortunate enough, ESPN made a commitment to this game 10 years ago. And so this is our 10th anniversary for the Cricket Celebration Bowl. And point of fact, Perry, this year will make the Cricket Celebration Bowl will be the longest running HBCU bowl game ever. The Heritage Bowl went defunct at year 9. So crossing the 10-year threshold is a significant milestone, for this event. But having this game broadcast on ABC to millions of people around the country, and I can tell you, Perry, that you talked about people out on the West Coast waking up to this game. Our most watched region of the country, which surprises a lot of people when I tell them this, but it's the Pacific Northwest. It's the West and Pacific Northwest. It's where our largest viewership comes from. From there, then it's the Northeast, and the Southeast comes in number 3 in terms of regions for viewership. So we're happy to give them something to wake up to. It's like having your first cup of coffee in the morning, except you have it with us with the Cricket Celebration Bowl.
And as you talk about the sponsors for this, man, let's talk about it, because Cricket is your title sponsor, man. Their partnership in all of this as well.
Absolutely. They've been involved with HBCUs and supporting HBCUs since 2018, starting with the Celebration Bowl then as a small partner, as well as with the SWAC conference in 2018. And they've grown that partnership into the title sponsorship of this game. But we also, are thankful for them and partnerships with, again, other companies like Truist Bank, Coca-Cola, the U.S. Army, Home Depot, and we could go down the list of some major Coca-Cola's major partners with us that have been committed to us for quite some time.
You know, as we start to look at these programs, man, as I go back and, I say you handed them that golden ticket. What is that expression? You've been doing this for years now. What is that feeling like as you give that speech and then you hand it off to the coaches, man, and you're the one saying, hey, you headed to Atlanta, baby?
You know what, Perry? And I was telling the guy who is at the printing company that produces that for us, I think that invitation is one of the most coveted invitations in certainly in HBCU football, but actually in all of football, because no other bowl game extends an invitation to their game the way we do. They don't extend a formal framed, as you call it, the golden ticket. But here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that the trophy gets presented for their conference championship. They quickly hand that away and they look to me and go, okay, you have something for me.
They want that golden ticket.
They want that golden ticket because they know that that's their invitation to Atlanta.
You know, as this thing is celebrating 10 years this year, correct?
That's correct.
As we celebrate 10 years, and I was there for the very first Celebration Bowl, I remember Alcorn versus North Carolina A&T. Tyreek Cohen had a day in that ball game, man. Alcorn couldn't do nothing with him back in 2015. But 10 years later, here we are, and this thing is still going strong. For you, just to see it 10 years later and the vision for the future.
Perry, it's our Super Bowl. Every coach today, you start at the start of the season. What they all tell the media, what they all tell their players, is the goal is to get to Atlanta. And the first couple of years, that really wasn't the case. Now we see that it is ingrained in the fabric and the culture of our, of HBCU football, that everyone wants to get here and they want to have that experience. And the beautiful thing, one thing, I talked to Rod Broadway, who was, the coach at North Carolina A&T. He won two Celebration Bowls. And he told me that, John, I have either played or been involved with and participated or coached in all the major bowls, all of them. And he said there's nothing like the Celebration Bowl. And it's special to him, and he's come back every single year as a part of our championship circle. And we take that, with a lot of pride.
I'm excited because when you look at these two conferences, what they say, they got it right. The two best teams will be playing for the Covenant Black College National Championship. But at the end of the day, we call it the champion of the Celebration Bowl. And you get to hand it off one more time. You've given out the golden tickets, but at some point this evening, you're going to be handing off a trophy for someone to take home and say they're the national champions, not only in the Black College realm, but the Celebration Bowl champion.
And that is a lot of pride for us to be able to do that, and to be able to see the expression on the faces of fans, on the expression on the faces of players, and on the face of the coach that's receiving it. Because that coach has received two coveted things. They received the golden ticket to get here, and then if they're fortunate enough, they receive the ultimate prize, which is the championship trophy. And we believe our trophy is the most beautiful trophy in all of college football.
It definitely is. And John Grant, I appreciate you for coming on this morning, man. I know you got a busy day ahead of you, and I appreciate you anytime you take the time to talk to not only me, but the many listeners out there that are going to be supporters of this. Because listen, Southern fans are still out there ready to start in the A and end in the A, and it ain't our time yet, but we're hoping in the future, as this bowl game continues to live on, that maybe one day we'll get there. But we thank you for all that you do and the time that you take to speak with us and give us insight, because it's not every day you get to talk to an executive director of a major bowl here in the United States.
Terry, thank you so much. You've always been kind to have us on. and I'm always delighted to share some time with you and your listeners. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank
now
you.
Let's go watch some football.
Let's go watch some football, baby. That is the voice of John Grant, the executive director of the Cricket Celebration Bowl, everybody. Let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we'll be more of the Jaguar Journal, all right?
Freshman from Arlington, Texas. And he is guarding Jacobs. That's a tough matchup. Just got taken to school on his first defensive possession. Damari Jones, he's got the size advantage. Help defense kept knocked. Two Southern players fight over it. Jones picks it up. Ambery from way outside, and it's in. Peterson was in jail, and it's turned over. And Michael Jacobs makes it 11 straight. Timeout.
I think that's what Danny Sprinkle was worried about right there with Frank Kepnon trying to guard guys out of the perimeter that are smaller and quicker. Beautiful move by Zoom Diallo in transition. Teammate got out of the way so he can try to take Frank Kepnon off the dribble because that's his advantage.
Possession, it's just had no direction to it with 3 seconds. A leaping catch by Hill. And wouldn't you know, the lead is back to 11. Claude in his Washington debut, 1-on-2, dribbles away, gets in the air and scores.
Yeah,
Desmond Claude.
He's a baller.
Mandequit down in the post.
That's just great defense.
A lot of fakes, hits, Kepnon!
Yeah, the big fella, they forgot about him at 6'11" down there.
Still unloaded it. Peterson for the tie, no, but Kepnon, he ties it up viciously.
Yeah. The double pick and roll.
Get him switched on Claude. Jacobs along the baseline, leaning in, missed off the bottom of the rim. Here come the Huskies, shot clock off. Claude takes it inside, puts it up. Putback wouldn't go for Peterson. Overtime in Seattle.
Well, somebody else for the Huskies is going to have to step up, and maybe it's this guy with the ball in his hand, number 9, Wesley Yates III. Nice move.
He stepped up on that possession, but Washington now has to attack this overtime. Huskies still want to extend the game. They make them use a lot of time. Yates for 3. It's good!
I thought he rushed it just trying to get it off, AJ, but he knocked it down. That was a huge shot. 2-point ball game. Yeah, they got a chance to get a good look. Don't have to shoot a 3.
No timeouts left. Peterson for the tie. He's got it! And Southern calls time with 1.9. It's November. By the way, the 4th foul on Mandequit. Rencher.
Nice pass. Good finish.
Lays it in.
How about the young fella being ready for that one?
So Kepnon and Diallo now have fouled out for the Huskies. Somerville bobbles it, rights himself, puts it in. A spirited performance by Southern. Washington got all they could handle and wins in double overtime in Seattle. Freshman from Arlington.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. It is a early morning here for me over in Atlanta, Georgia. For everybody back in Baton Rouge, I say good morning. Everybody watching, listening all over the world. Listen, I'm talking about Atlanta and Baton Rouge, but it's everywhere in terms of people that watch this show, subscribe, and listen. Be sure, for everybody back in Baton Rouge, I appreciate you listening to us on Talk 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area. Listen, I appreciate you waking up on Saturdays and tuning in. And I had a conversation with a guy a few days ago before I headed to Atlanta. White guy, right? Said, man, he was asking me, he said, man, your voice sounds familiar. I said, man, I do the Jaguar Journal on 107.3 FM. He said, man, is that you? I listen to you on Saturday mornings, man, when I'm up moving around, doing things around the house or I'm outside. He said, man, I thought your voice sounded familiar. So I always tell people, it ain't just no Southern folks listening to this. It's all type of folks listening to this. And at the end of the day, I welcome everybody to come in and listen because it's for the people. And I hope you are entertained when you tune in on a Saturday to Perry White and the Jaguar Journal. My man Mike back in the studio in Baton Rouge. He's always holding it down as he's making sure the live stream is good as well as everything that's happening right here on the radio side of things. But I appreciate everybody out there. And I say it all the time. Who are we without you guys, right? And I always think I'm talking to nobody on here. Like, nobody's listening to me. Who wants to wake up on a Saturday morning and listen to me talk and yell into this mic, right? But y'all do. And I appreciate y'all for doing that with me, because at the end of the day, it's nothing but love. And I love each and every one of you guys. I love meeting people who say, man, I listen to the show. Or, you know, the biggest thing that gets me is when someone said, man, you saying what how I feel. You're saying the things that I want to say. And so, and I know I don't always say the right things the way people want me to say it. I'm not always politically correct. You know, I'm not always right either. I have an opinion and I have my way of thinking about things, but you know, I'm a little different, and I understand that. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. Some people out there dislike Perry White. Some people out there hate Perry White. But some people out there like Perry White, and some people out there love Perry White. And I appreciate anybody out there for what you do when it comes to supporting. If you don't like the show and you still listening, hey, welcome. So everybody out there, the Jaguar Journal, be sure to keep up with us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on TikTok, on X, on Instagram, as well as Facebook and YouTube. Let's get ready to take a break, everybody. We'll come back on the top of the hour. We're going to break down today's game, the big game as we end college football on our side of things of the Celebration Bowl. You guys stay tuned. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
From Baton Rouge, Louisiana,
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. I am Perry White over in Atlanta, Georgia this morning, getting ready for the Cricket Celebration Bowl. My man Mike back in the studio. Good morning to everybody. As we talk about the Cricket Celebration Bowl, it's going to be the SWAC champion in Prairie View taking on South Carolina State, the MEAC champion. And listen, y'all know who I like to talk sports with, especially when it comes to this stuff. Nobody better than my man Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue. What's up, Blue?
What's up, man? You excited for today?
I am, man. How about you?
Man, I'm pumped. I hate I couldn't be in Atlanta this weekend, man. Had some other stuff come up, man, but I was going to be tuned in, man. Kickoff this morning.
Let's look back at the game last week. Coach Tremaine Jackson takes the Prairie View Panthers on the road to take on Coach T.C. Taylor and the Jackson State Tigers. First of all, Tremaine Jackson winning Coach of the Year. Big award for him in year one over at Prairie View. Of course, last year he was coaching around this time, getting his team ready for a Division II national championship. But this was one of those games, Blue. Everybody said it was going to be tough for Prairie View because Jackson State is a tough team to beat up in Jackson at the Vet, right? Prairie View said, you know what? Don't worry about it. Hold my beer. And they go up there, and then this one, the final score, 23-21, as Prairie View get their 10th win on the season, and they defeat Jackson State. Let's look at this game, Blue, and then we'll break it down. For Prairie View in this one, 19 first down. The Panthers were 10 of 21 on third downs, and they struggled on fourth down, 1 of 3 on fourth down. The Panthers of Prairie View, 424 total yards of offense, 294 in the air, and 130 on the ground. They had 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and an interceptions, but they led by the time of possession with 38 minutes. Now let's look at the Tigers of Jackson State defending their SWAC title in this ball game. 10 first downs. This was very interesting. Prairie View's defense holding Jackson State to 2 of 10 on third downs in this one. Jackson State's offense, only 244 yards of offense, 160 in the air. How about this one, Blue? 84 yards rushing on the ground. Didn't see this one coming beforehand, but guess what? Prairie View's defense coming into this game was ranked number 4 in all of FCS football, and they made sure they gave Jackson a tough day. Cameron Peters, the quarterback for Prairie View, was 17 of 28 in this ball game for 294 yards passing, 1 interception along with a touchdown, but Cameron Peterson also did it with his legs. 24 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown. Chase Bingham right behind him with 11 carries and 23 yards. And then Rockwell from the wide receiver position, 4 receptions for 96 yards. Ethan John, 1 reception for 66 yards. And Cameron Bonner, 1 reception for 40 yards and a touchdown. On the other side for Jackson State, Lockhart had to come into this game because Jacoby and Morgan struggled early on throwing the ball as Jackson State really relied on his run game. Morgan only 4 passing yards in this ball game. He was 2 of 6, and Lockhart 6 of 9 for 156 yards passing, 1 touchdown and an interception. But Jacoby and Morgan, who exited this game after re-injuring his foot, couldn't have asked for a better way to go out for his last game. He also had 2 carries for 28 yards, Blue, and a touchdown in this one. Ahmad Miller, very quiet in the running back position, 13 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown. Nate Rampart, the big play explosive receiver for Jackson State, 4 receptions for 80 yards. Shamar Savage, the former Prairie View Panther himself, 1 reception for 41 yards. And then Dupree in this one, 2 receptions for 37 yards and a touchdown. All right, now I'm done with all that stuff to make sure everybody understand what we're talking about. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. First of all, Blue, did you see this one coming? Prairie View going on the road and dethroning Jackson State as the SWAC champion.
No, man. I mean, listen, am I shocked? No. But I will say this. I'll take Jackson, but I said all week, the more film I watched, the more I leaned more toward PV. I thought they were playing I think they were the hotter team coming into this weekend. Like, you look back at Jackson now with hindsight, ever since that Grambling game, and they've kind of been, I mean, really after the FAM game, I guess you could say, they haven't been playing at the highest level. And I think this weekend, man, they just got hit in the mouth. I think PV came out with a different type of energy. You could tell it maybe caught Jackson a little bit off guard, but they beat Jackson at their own game, Harry. They shut down the run game. Jackson got a handful of plays over the top, but really weren't able to establish a ton offensively down to down. And really and truly, you look, if PV doesn't make some just costly mistakes on some of those drives, then we're talking about a more than 2-point win, right? I mean, if Cam Peterson doesn't stretch the ball out, Perry, That's another 7 points right there. And they just shanked the field goal early in this game. So I think PV shot themselves in the foot and still found a way to win, which is something, Perry, what me and you talked about as keys to the game. No one's been able to make those mistakes and beat Jackson outside of PV, man. You got to give Cam Peters and so many flowers for how we played. And how about the scheme that they ran for Jackson? They saw something they liked with that QB power and just ran it over and over again. And Jackson had no answer for it. I believe he had almost 70 yards after contact, ran for over 100, and almost 400 yards of total offense by himself. And we've said all year the weakness of Jackson State's team has been the defensive backs, and there were just some key moments, especially on third downs, that they just got exposed in this one. Josiah Rockwell had himself a game this weekend.
Yeah, at one time in this game, once it got into the third quarter, because it was a slow-paced game, Prairie View early on relied on its special teams. When I say special teams, their field goal kicker, who, let me tell you, Blue, at one point I said, man, this kid is going to be the MVP of the SWAC championship game, because he was just money for Prairie View to keep them where they needed to be to win this game. Now, let's look at the third quarter, which I thought where this game started to really, the fireworks started to blow, right? Explosive play after explosive play. And it seemed like Prairie View kind of got out of themselves for a minute trying to match Jackson State's explosive play, and it ended up with an interception. And my man Scotty texted me at the time and said, man, what you think? I said, for me, if I'm Prairie View, I go back to running the ball. And one thing I liked about Prairie View, aside from the QB power, was how patient their running backs are in the backfield. They don't get the ball and just go. They tiptoe and they wait for a hole to open, and then the explosive run happens. And that's what I liked about Prairie View in this one, the running backs being patient. But most of all, I think when you saw those receivers get past those Jackson State DBs, they made big plays up the sideline, and you couldn't ask for better. And not only that, Prairie View's defense was in the backfield, making it a tough day, not only for those running backs, but Morgan and Lockhart as well.
Yeah, I think it's something that we've seen from Jackson for like all season. You talk about those explosive plays. Coming into the game, the interesting stat was Jackson ranked 8th in the SWAC in red zone touchdown percentage. So they've been super inefficient in the red zone period, but it's because a ton of their touchdown drives have been explosive plays. And I think what PV said for the most part in this game is that we're going to do our best to limit explosive plays. Now, listen, they had a handful of plays that they allowed that were explosive. I think Jacobian in his limited time was okay, but that run was huge. And then they got what was it, Dupree over the top for the touchdown, and then they had Savage over the top after he had the penalty for the blindside block. I just think that PV defense, man, everyone talked about it, about that three-man, that three safety look over the top. That's what that defense is supposed to be able to do, is not allow you to get deep. And what PV is going to say is you're going to have to walk down the field, Perry, and we're just going to make open field tackles, and we're going to beat you at the line of scrimmage. And everyone keeps saying, everyone kind of talks about how that three-man front was not going to work against Jackson. Well, Perry, it worked. And it's because of that defensive tackle that they have, the size and the ability to take up space on that offensive line. I think that the real key to the game, Perry, you talk about that third quarter, is EV won the line of scrimmage battle almost all game, but particularly when it mattered most, they were able to establish their dominance over Jackson State at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. And at the end of the day, man, you know how I feel as a former lineman. That is the most important matchup to watch every single week. And the fact that PV won on both sides of the ball was the difference in this one.
Jacoby Morgan, it was tough for him throwing the ball early on, but he had to exit this game, and it was his last time playing. But, if I had to say a way to go out, what a way to go out. Wide open, up the sideline, running the ball for a touchdown and re-injured his foot. But, man, if there's a walk into the sunset, as they say, is the career is over. No, you didn't get the win, but, man, you'll look back on it and say, man, my last play was a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it might be hindsight, and I've talked about this all week, but I still don't think that was the right call to play on. Like, if he wasn't a senior, Perry, I don't think Jackson makes that call to play on. It was just the fact that he was a senior. You had to try it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it was too good. I don't think it was the right call because outside of that run, Terry, he really wasn't great in all the other action. I just think it sets the offense back, and then by the time you put Lockhart in, it takes Lockhart a handful of drives to find his full rhythm. And so what you did is you pretty much just reset your offense, and then by that time, I mean, PV's defense was already in rhythm. So I just think you limited yourself a little bit. But again, I said that's kind of hindsight. But I still think if Jacobian was not 100%, which he wasn't watching the game, I think you still just got to go with Lockhart for the full game and give your offense the best chance to be successful.
When you look at coaching in this ball game for you, Blue, for both staffs, and I step away from the head coaches and T.C. Taylor and Tremaine Jackson, but we look at the coordinators, right? The OC and DC for Prairie View, OC, DC for Jackson State. Which side you think really made the adjustments and really made the calls when it needed to be to win this game? And it could also happen, for a team who loses, but, for a team who win, it also sounds great because even with those calls, I look back as you talked about it. Boy, oh boy, Prairie View had a chance to really blow this thing open. And on the QB power, Peters goes in and stretches for the extra yards, which he already had the first, and fumbles the ball. And it seems like, man, this is the momentum that Jackson State gets at home. But when you look at these coordinators for you, who just seem to have made the better calls and adjustments?
I think it was PV on both sides, to be honest with you. I don't think, listen, I do want to say this. I don't think Jackson's defense played poorly, right? But I do think that Jackson's offense was very limited. I mean, anytime that you only have 200-something yards of total offense, Perry, and you had that much offensive talent, it was a bad day. And on the flip side, I think PV's defense made the stops when they needed to. They took away what Jackson wanted to do in terms of running the football. And people can argue all the time that Ahmad Miller needed more carries, and maybe he did, but 13 carries for 27 yards. He was averaging 2 yards per carry. Perry, so what else did you want them to do on the ground? Terrell was at under 4 yards per carry. If you take away that Jacobian Morgan 29-yard touchdown scramble, which wasn't even really a design run, right? You look at, they only put up like 50, 60 yards rushing. That's insane for PV's defense. And I thought the OC for PV did exactly what he was supposed to. Stick with what's working. And on top of that, too, the weakness is Jackson State's secondary. He just targeted the weakness, and those corners that were out there on some of these wide receivers had no shot in coverage. And then in the front seven, you look at all the tackles that Jackson's linebackers had. I said this all throughout the week, kind of recapping this game, is that it's not good that Reed Pulliam had 14 tackles. You want to know what that means, Terry? It means nobody in the front four was making a play. Mm-hmm. And they were getting to the second level, and he had to make the tackle. I think PV outcoached Jackson on both sides as well.
Let's do this, Blue. You got a second to hang on with me?
Yep.
All right, let's take a break, everybody. When we come back, I got my man Zach McKenna, a.k.a. Blue from FCS Football Central, talking about the SWAC Championship. We'll look ahead to today's ball game and more with the Celebration Bowl. You guys stay tuned. We'll be back more of the Jaguar Journal.
By Carlos Funchess' group. He's in his 8th season at Southern. Actually been on campus for 21 years with the program. Anywhere in the SWAC to win an NCAA tournament game.
Well, that pressure caused a turnover for Arizona.
Oh, nice bucket by Porter. Arizona in its 53rd season of basketball, trying to defend in the paint, and that is just tough to defend off the window. Porter.
You put it on the ground as a post player. I always said no more than one dribble, but it's a show and go, and she said, give me the ball.
Tate inside, beautiful pass, finished by Hall. The Lady Jags is 7. Nice take by Lagway, came up short. Cam Kitchen all alone. She's not going to miss from there.
Yeah, she took off,
And this is with leading scorer Hurston being held to just 2 points. That triple is good. Tremendous make and take by Arizona with an opportunity to add to its 6-0 run.
That was a really nice basket by Delancey, and Arizona forced a lot. Oh, that was a great basket by Francois.
Nice answer by Arizona.
If they can on the sideline, there it is, and there it is.
Cunningham gives it up. Purdue pushing pace.
And a foul. If they can on the sideline. There it is. And there it is.
Cunningham gives it up. Purdue pushing pace.
And a foul. And a foul.
Too strong. Francois O'Board. Short. Francois again up and in.
Big basket there by Francois following her own miss.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. I am in Atlanta, Georgia this morning. The Celebration Bowl is today. Got my man Blue, Zach McKenna, a.k.a. Blue from FCS Football Central on the line with me. Good morning, Blue.
I'll say, man, I got to get my name legally changed now, too. So I appreciate you having me back.
He's Blue, a.k.a. Zach McKenna. Man, you know, we talked about that SWAC championship, man. It was a hell of a game, an instant classic. Prairie View goes in and upsets Jackson State. Now, let's look at this matchup today of South Carolina State and Prairie View. Both these coaches in Chennisberry and Tremaine Jackson has success on the Division II level, as Chennisberry was at Benedict College. He had taken them to a Division II playoff. Last year, Tremaine Jackson had played for South Carolina State. Chennisberry has maintained success in not building just a team, but a program, as his team and his program has not lost a game in conference play in the MEAC since he's gotten there 2 years in a row. And then you look at Tremaine Jackson and what he's built in year one. Not only the coach of the year in the SWAC, not only the SWAC West champs, but he is the SWAC champ over in Atlanta, Georgia this morning.
The idea of both these teams are going to be defense, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see which quarterback comes to play, because I think both of these quarterbacks, if you look throughout the season, Perry, had to earn their spot as a starter and have grown throughout the year and are now playing their best football. I think these two teams mirror each other so much that this matchup literally could go any way.
It can, and as we look at this matchup, you know, for me, I like South Carolina State when I look at, hey, they can push the ball when they want down the field. When they look for the explosive plays, they have the quarterback that can make it with the receiver. Defense, man, just as solid as any team that you can find. And special teams, when you least expect it, boom, they'll hit you with an onside kick here and there. We saw it against North Carolina Central and South Carolina State. South Carolina State goes down and scores. In the first quarter, without anybody paying attention, boom, they come out with an onside kick, get the ball back, and on the very next play, Blue, take a shot deep down the field and for another explosive play for a touchdown to put themselves in a comfortable spot, but not necessarily because North Carolina Central battled back. But it's just that type of aggressive play that you'll get from Chennisberry. Now, what makes me nervous, although I really do like Prairie View coming into this matchup, are the turnovers by Cam Peters. Sometimes he's a little unpredictable when what he's going to do with the ball, and I talked about this early this week. I go back to that game against Northwestern State, and I know I can't hold one game, a guy accountable for one game, right? And that was so long ago, but excuse me, some of that showed its ugly head in the SWAC championship game. I go back to a play against Northwestern State where they were in the red zone, and I'm talking about Prairie View, and Cam could have easily ran it in or dumped it off, but he threw it right into the back of the end zone to a defender, and it gave Northwestern State life to get back into that game. I go back to this game in the SWAC championship last week. It was just some turnovers that just, I'm saying, hey, man, eventually these catch up with you. He makes me a little nervous in today's matchup because of those turnovers, but you got to rest your hat on this Prairie View's defense as well, and they're not too shabby on special teams. But if I were to look at both teams right now, I'm with you. I think they look pretty even, but Cam just with the turnovers is the only thing that makes me nervous, Blue.
The only response I would maybe have on this is that if you look at his season, though, 4 of his 7 interceptions came in one game. He's only thrown 3 picks in the other 11 games he's played in this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. I mean, I don't think that's terrible.
It's not. It's just when it's those situational plays, and I go back and look at it now. When you go back and you look at their schedule outside of UT Rio Grande Valley and that Alabama State game, Northwestern State pushed them a little bit. But I go back and I'm like, what's the toughest defense they've seen this year up until they played Jackson State, aside from non-conference?
Probably, yeah, it'd be the Bama State game where he threw 4 picks. But then he played well outside of those turnovers. So, yeah, maybe that one. I mean, I think Texas Southern week 1, everyone thought that Texas Southern team was going to be improved. And, I mean, that's the team that finished, 500 this year? So, probably Bama State or Texas Southern outside of conference play, because he didn't play much in that Grambling game. That was when they were rotating, and I think Tevin Carter played most of that game.
And I say that because this South Carolina State defense is no slouch, Blue.
It's a fact. They got an elite corner on the outside, too, in Gerard Washington, that if you put the ball in harm's way, man, he's going to make you pay. And so I agree with you. I think he's going to have to play clean football, but he might be, man, one of the hottest quarterbacks right now. I mean, since the Southern game probably?
Yeah.
He's been on an absolute heater. And I think the biggest thing for them is they got to get something going in the run game, because the one thing I don't want everyone to overlook the SWAC championship is they got Cam Peters going with the run, but their running backs really were ineffective against Jackson's rushing defense. And so that is something to watch. But I will offer you this, too, is if you're looking at throughout MEAC conference play, South Carolina State ranks 5th in rushing defense, allowing 163 yards per game. But they allow the second least amount of touchdowns on the ground. So there's something to give there. And listen, I don't think TV runs the ball as well as Delaware State, but let's not forget the last time we saw South Carolina State, they gave up, 400 something yards rushing?
Yeah.
I think if PV can get 150 to 200 on the ground, man, they got to feel really good about their chances today.
Aside from this game, let's look over into the FCS football playoffs. Of course, I'm always curious about this. Stephen F. Austin and Montana State played last night in the quarterfinals, but we got some matchups today. One at 11 o'clock at the same time as the Celebration Bowl. Villanova taking on Tarleton State. Villanova 11-2, Tarleton State 12-1. Then coming up at 2:30 is going to be South Dakota taking on Montana. South Dakota 10-4, Montana 12-1, and then Illinois State. How about them knocking off North Dakota State last week at 10-4, taking on UC Davis? Your thoughts on the FCS playoffs?
Yeah, man, I think today is going to be a huge day for FCS, man. I'm so glad. And I wish more people would stop having this Celebration Bowl versus playoff debate, because, man, both of them working in conjunction makes the best case scenario for the FCS. We get a game we get 2 games on ESPN and ABC showcasing the best of the best at the FCS level. We get a game at 2:30 on ABC right behind the Celebration Bowl, and then we have another game, and we just had a game last night on primetime ESPN. Barry, that is great for the subdivision, man. I don't care if it's playoff, Celebration Bowls, normal game. That is awesome. But I think today, I'll be honest, the Celebration Bowl is the one you probably want to watch today, just because I do think Tarleton's a very, very bad matchup for Villanova. But I think that South Dakota Montana game, man, you want to talk about a coin flip, Barry? Just keep your TVs on ABC today, because you're going to have the amazing Celebration Bowl followed by one of the best quarterfinal games that we've seen in South Dakota versus Montana. South Dakota is super red hot right now, and that Montana offense is elite.
You know, I was so curious. Not use the word curious. I was blown away last week when I saw Mercer, who were one of the better teams in the country, completely get blanked by South Dakota 47-0.
Yeah, that one was a little shocking. Let's just go with shocking, Terry. I was stunned too, but man, it just shows how hot South Dakota is. You got to think that they lost a ton of talent, right? But they are playing the best football right now. And last year, man, they made a run to the semifinals. So this is a team that's been there, done it in the FCS playoffs. And when you got a true freshman quarterback like Mercer does, Harry, if he doesn't play well, man, you get what you got last weekend. And I just think it was one of the rare bad performances we've seen from Braden Atkinson.
All right, here we go. Let's get some predictions for today, Blue. I got to do it with you. Let's go start with we'll say the Celebration Bowl for last. Let's look at Villanova, Tarleton State. Who you got?
I like Tarleton State big there.
Yeah, I like Tarleton State, man. Good defense as well right there. How about South Dakota and Montana? What you think?
Man, I have flip-flopped my pick all week on this game, Perry. I'm going to lean Montana, though, because it's hard to go win in Wild Grizz on the road in the FCS playoffs. So give me Montana to get it done in the close one.
Two teams that, you don't see every day, but here you go. Illinois State, UC Davis.
God, another 50-50 game. Man, it's really hard to pick against a team that just beat North Dakota State in the Fargo Dome. But, man, listen, I like to take a little bit of risk with these picks. Give me UC Davis. I love Caden Pennick there at quarterback. Tim Plough's an offensive genius. And I think UC Davis being at home is really good. Plus, Perry, these two teams met in last year's playoff. UC Davis won 42-10. I think they get it done again today.
And now the Celebration Bowl. Talked to John Grant earlier here in the show. Told him you went out and gave out the golden tickets. And how about this one? Both tickets he gave out this year were to the visiting team winning on the road. Delaware State losing to South Carolina State. South Carolina State get it done on the road. Jackson State losing to Prairie View. Prairie View getting it done on the road. Now we talk about this matchup. We've broken it down. Two coaches who are well-respected, coach of the year coming out of their conferences. What do you think in this one? Who you got?
I say it again. Another game I've been flip-flopping back and forth on all week. I'm going to go with the hotter team. I think the more complete team. I trust PV to be able to run the football just a little bit more, Perry. I think they win the line of scrimmage battle. They stop South Carolina State's rushing attack. They cause some problems in the back end with this passing attack of Billy Atkins. Give me Tremaine Jackson to do the unthinkable, win the HBCU National Championship year one at PV.
Woo! That's a big one. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Tennis Berry in this one. South Carolina State just to me seemed like last year that was something they wanted to redeem from losing to Jackson State, and now they're back again and saying, "Hey, we ain't gonna let it happen again." But hey, it does happen. But I think this is a close one. I'm gonna go 21-17 South Carolina State. I think South Carolina State gets it done in this one, Blue. It's going to be a hell of a game, in which we hope it is today. Kickoff at 12 Eastern Standard Time, 11 Central Standard Time, and everybody else further west, you're just going to be waking up to some football. But this is going to be one hell of a game today, Blue.
Absolutely, man. I cannot wait. I wish I could be there. It's I always hate to miss the Celebration Bowl. I know you had to miss the SWAC championship last week, man. But listen, it's part of the job, and man, I'm going to be tuned in this morning. I can't wait to see it.
Before I let you go, you been paying attention to any D2 football?
No, kind of. Listen, I just kind of have it written in pen. Give me Ferris State to win everything. Just like I'm not picking against Ferris State.
Well, Blue, man, I appreciate you coming on this morning, man. I know you got a busy day ahead of you, a lot of football to watch, man. Let everybody know out there, man, how they can keep up with you and follow.
Yeah, man. FCS Football Central on SI, si.com/college/FCS. The Blue Bloods on all podcast streaming platforms and YouTube, and then just at Zach McKinnell on all social media. And Perry, again, man, I appreciate it, and have a blast over there in Atlanta, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. As always, everybody, my man Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue. We'll probably be talking next week as we look back at all of these games and see how they turn out, man. Thank you, Blue.
Absolutely, man.
All right, everybody, let's get ready to take a break, and we'll come back on the other side. We'll be back with more of the Jaguar Journal.
And Southern trying to make it 2 straight wins against a power force. As we see the Houston starting 5, Kiera Merchant is not available today. It's Pagero, Jones, Hunter.
All right, everybody, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Glad to have you guys with us. I am Perry White. Good morning to everybody back in Baton Rouge in the capital city area, listening to us on Talk 107.3 FM. And everybody watching across the world on our YouTube and Facebook Live. I'm glad to have you guys with us as well this morning. Be sure to keep up with the Jaguar Journal across all platforms, right? We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on X. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook as well as YouTube. So go follow us on all of those different platforms, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. As we continue to grow, we want you to grow with us as we branch out and reach out in all of these different spaces. And I appreciate you guys as you have been here with us. Vast majority of you every step of the way. Some of you guys are just finding out about us, and it is okay, because guess what? No matter if you found out about us today, tomorrow, or yesterday, at the end of the day, I'm glad that you guys are with us, and that's all that matters to me, that you guys are with us. And everybody that's watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live, you probably see Mike got me straight. He hooked me up. I'm looking at him on my phone. I didn't think he was going to make it like that, but I appreciate you, Mike. for the Cash App. My Cash App, $PWHITE1210. That's P White 1210. You know why I say 1210? My birthday was Wednesday, December the 10th. Was my birthday, man. I just turned 21. I appreciate you guys for that 21st birthday. I'm sure Mike in the studio laughing like, hell no, he ain't no 21. Can't be. I got a daughter that's going to be in college next year at Southern University, but that don't make me old. That just made me a young guy that was making babies. Okay, that was all. That's all it was. I was just making a baby young, just having fun at the time. But now that fun is turned into a full job and making sure I get these kids prepared for life. And that's all I'm trying to do with my time. Make sure I get my kids prepared for life. My daughter is the oldest. My son is the youngest. My daughter's 17. My son is 8. My daughter's in the 12th grade. My son is in the 3rd grade. So my daughter's getting ready as she wraps up her senior year. And I keep trying to tell her, and she's here in Atlanta. She's a senior at New Manchester High School. And I continue to tell her, I say, hey, I don't know why you so ready to be grown. Because I promise you, all you're going to do is look back and remember those days you didn't have no bills. And you're going to look back and remember those days, man, life was so much fun and simpler. And it was just, man, you had all the energy. Hey, your knees didn't hurt. Your back didn't ache, all of that stuff. So I try to put it in perspective for her to just take her time and enjoy life. Now, my son, at that age of 8, he ain't thinking about nothing. He loves trains. He is he's Perry as well. I'm Perry Senior. He's Perry Junior, but he's Perry White Junior, the train man. He'll talk to you about any train in the world. And I'm not talking about kid trains. He don't want to do none of that Thomas the Tank Engine stuff. Take him to the train yard, and he'll tell you what to do with it. He's all on Train Simulator these days. He know how to design them and build them, make the layout tracks. And right now I'm trying to get him to understand how important it is to take care of him because he wants to get into model railroading. So I'm trying to get him to understand how important it is, man. I don't know if y'all know anything about the hobby, but those model trains are expensive. I can tell you because I collected model trains as a kid, and it's crazy how what you loved and liked, and without me ever exposing it to him, it just automatically came natural to him. And that's what he loves and like. But he took it a lot further than me because in my day, I had the internet barely, but it was mostly magazines, imagination, and what you saw in person. These days, he hops on YouTube. Matter of fact, he loves trains so much, he started him a YouTube channel. So, and that's the love I have for my kids. And I hope you guys have that same love for your kids, man. When you find something they love and it's beneficial, you use it. And I use trains for my son in every aspect of life, whether it's math, science, history, whatever the case may be. I always resort back to making sure I use those examples of trains to make sure he understands the importance of education. My daughter, just spending, just spending, it's just, I ain't no other way to put it. Just spending. Y'all got daughters out there, just spending. They just spending. Just spending. That's the only way I can put it. That's the only way we know it. And the Christmas holiday is coming up. So I also want to say happy holidays to everybody. Excuse me, as we get ready to get into the Christmas season. Things are going to slow down, of course. Football season is on the back end for us. Marshall Faulk now being hired at Southern. I don't have anything for y'all. That's why I didn't bring it up today. I don't know about no coaches. I can't tell you any coordinators. At this point, now that the hire is made, what I'm doing is just sitting back watching. And I'm going to let it unfold. It ain't no rush for me to try to report anything to you guys. I'm not trying to be the first. I'm not trying to, none of that. I'm like y'all. When I find it out, I'll give it to you guys. And then I get a chance to maybe get Marshall Faulk here on the show one day. You never know. He big time, right? Let's see if I can get big time. It ain't me just going to get Jason Rollins and Eric Dooley and Terrence Graves. We talking about an NFL Hall of Famer now. I don't know if he's going to want to sit down and talk to old Perry White. I don't know. But if he does, I'll make sure I bring him here on the show. And you better believe, y'all know, I'm going to try and do my thing to get him here. There's no doubt about it. I'm always going to make sure I do that. I also want to go back to that interview last week with Dr. Dennis Shields, the president of the Southern University system. I got a lot of calls in response of people that just simply enjoyed hearing that interview. And I'm glad that you guys did, because that whole point was that to let you hear from the administration side. And it's not often, especially with what in our world of Southern University, that we get to hear from the higher ups, whether it's someone from the board or whether it's from the system president, and I'm not saying hear from them from a perspective of a quote in the newspaper or a line stated on the news. No, just say sit down, have a discussion with you. And anybody know with me, I'm not although I am in the business of journalism, I don't want anybody to sit down with me and think this stuff is scripted or it has to go a certain. I do not like things that way. When you sit down with me, you're sitting down with Perry. And when you're sitting down with Perry, who's honestly, and I would say wholeheartedly inquisitive about learning something about you. It ain't no questions, I'm going to flow the conversation off of you. And however you flow it, I'll flow it with you. And one thing I'm not scared to ask anything in terms of what people consider tough questions. I'm not scared at all. That doesn't bother me. People either answer it or they don't, but I don't find it to feel any type of way. I'm very blunt. I'm open. I'm okay with being uncomfortable as well. That's what has gotten me this far in life, being uncomfortable and finding ways to adapt. And that's what gets me to be who I am each and every time. And hopefully that's who you guys like when you listen to this show on Saturday mornings. As my birthday just passed. I'm getting a little older, and all I could do is just thank the Lord for blessing me to wake up and see another year. My mom's birthday today. Happy birthday to my mom. I'm December the 10th. My mom's December the 13th. So, I would be horribly wrong if I don't say happy birthday to my mom, Michelle White. She's up there in Little Rock, Arkansas. Hey, man, thank you for everything, Mom, that you've done for me in my life and instilling in me to be the man that I am today. I grew up, my father was not a father. He was just, to me, another guy. I had a relationship with him in terms of knowing who he was, but it never was a father-son relationship. But my father, he passed away a few years ago, but it was my mother who, when I was young, gave me tough love. And that tough love, when I was young, I didn't understand it because I saw everybody else's mother. It was so nurturing and loving and, oh, come here. How do you? Not in my household. Hey, it was all about business. And that's what it simply was. And that's how I am today. I'm about business. I have compassion and love, but I'm about business. And that was just what my mom instilled in me. So happy birthday to my mom today, as she celebrated her birthday last weekend with her and her friends. She said they went to a fancy place and they set it out up in there. She said, hey, Perry, we had a grand time. And if y'all ever meet my mom or got a chance to see my mom, a very classy lady. She's retired out of politics. My mom actually is in law school right now. So she's pursuing the one to do in this side of life. She said, Perry, I feel like it's my duty to get out there and help people, and I'm going to do that. So she retired from out of politics, and now she's in law school, getting ready to want to get into this world of the legal affairs. So that's my background, and that's who I am because of her, and I thank her for everything she's done for me to lead me on the right path. And did I always listen? No. Did I always understand? No, but I promise you, it was what she instilled in me at a young age that ultimately that you don't understand, but the older you get, you be like, you know what? That makes sense now. I see that now. Oh, that's what she was talking about. And because of that, that's who I am today. And that drive that she instilled in me is that drive that still pushes me to even go even further in today's time. So my birthday was Wednesday. Her birthday is today. We're the December babies, celebrating 3 days apart. And it was always tough with Christmas because you had to sacrifice in my household. What you want? You want birthday or you want Christmas? And right now, I know Mike in the studio saying, I want a break. And Mike, I'll give you a break and let's take one. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Freshman from Arlington, Texas. And he is guarding Jacobs. That's a tough matchup. Just got taken to school on his first defensive possession. Damari Jones, he's got the size advantage. Help defense, Kepnong. Two Southern players fight over it. Jones picks it up. Ambery from way outside, and it's in. Peterson was in jail, and it's turned over. And Michael Jacobs makes it 11 straight timeout.
I think that's what Danny Sprinkle was worried about right there with Frank Kepnong trying to guard guys out on the perimeter that are smaller and quicker. Beautiful move by Zoom Diallo in transition. Teammate got out of the way so he can try to take Frank Kepnong off the dribble because that's his advantage.
Possession, it's just had no direction to it with 3 seconds. A leaping catch by Hill. And wouldn't you know, the lead is back to 11. Claude in his Washington debut, 1-on-2, dribbles away, gets in the air and scores.
Yeah,
Desmond Claude.
He's a baller.
Mandaquit down in the post.
That's just great defense.
A lot of fakes, hits.
Yeah, the big fella. They forgot about him at 6'11" down there.
Still unloaded it. Peterson for the tie. No, but Kepnong, he ties it up viciously.
Yeah. The double pick and roll.
Get him switched on Claude. Jacobs along the baseline, leaning in, missed off the bottom of the rim. Here come the Huskies. Shot clock off. Claude takes it inside, puts it up. Putback wouldn't go for Peterson. Overtime in Seattle.
Well, somebody else for the Huskies is going to have to step up, and maybe it's this guy with the ball in his hand, number 9, Wesley Yates III. Nice move.
He stepped up on that possession, but Washington now has to attack this overtime. Huskies still want to extend the game. They make them use a lot of time. Yates for 3. It's good!
I thought he rushed it just trying to get it off, AJ, but he knocked it down. That was a huge shot. 2-point ball game. Yeah, they got a chance to get a good look. Don't have to shoot a 3.
No timeouts left. Peterson for the tie. He's got it! And Southern calls time with 1.9. It's November. By the way, the 4th foul on Mandaquit. Rencher.
Nice pass. Good finish.
Lays it in.
How about the young fella being ready for that one?
So Kepnong and Diallo now have fouled out for the Huskies. Somerville bobbles it, rights himself, puts it in. A spirited performance by Southern. Washington got all they could handle and wins in double overtime in Seattle. Freshman from Arlington, Texas. And he is guarding.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning. I am Perry White. I am in Atlanta, Georgia this morning, Eastern Standard Time. So it's going on 9 o'clock over my way. We're getting ready to get things rocking and rolling. You guys are back Central Standard Time. And I say you guys because that's everybody listening on Talk 107.3 across the Baton Rouge capital city area. But there are many people this morning listening and watching this show that are all over the world. And I appreciate you guys all the time for what you do. Look, Mike and I have really been doing some things to grow this thing. And this is what we've been doing. This used to be a radio-based only show. And people would tell me all the time, man, I missed the show this morning. What'd you talk about? And I'm like, well, I just did that for 2 hours, man. I don't know how I'm going to run this back. And the whole idea was, man, in this ever-changing world of digital media, man, why not us? Why not expand this thing away from just radio to digital media? But listen, I thoroughly enjoy our radio audience out there on Talk 107.3 because it is a diverse audience across the Baton Rouge capital city area, and it gives me a chance to connect with people outside of Southern, and it gives people outside of Southern an opportunity to see what's going on this side. So I enjoy that, and people do listen to this show, and they tune in on Saturday mornings, and I appreciate you for that. But it's those people out there I know that really have a vested interest in Southern. They want to know what's going on. And if it ain't just Southern, it's the HBCU space. What's going on within the SWAC, the MEAC, and all around the place. And we try to make sure we do a great job at bringing you that information and bringing it to you anytime along with the guests. And those guests today, I want to thank Coach Carlos Funches, Southern University women's head basketball coach, for coming on. His team has found some success here, and they are really headed in the right direction. I thank Coach Funches for coming on this morning. Also, John Grant, the executive director of the Celebration Bowl, man, a hardworking guy. He always makes time. And look, it's hard to find people that are executive. Just first of all, the people that talk, you know, to get a head coach, to get an executive director of a bowl game. And then, of course, my man, Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue. He covers everything, especially in that FCS football realm. And on a day like today, I just thank those guys, man, and anybody who comes on this show for taking the time to talk to Perry White and talk to you, because they're not talking to me. They're really talking to you. I'm just the vessel to try to steer them, to help give the information for you guys. But the information is all about y'all out there. I make sure that's what it's about. And anytime I meet any of you guys, I am thoroughly excited to shake your hand, give you a hug, and say, man, thank you, and I love you for the support. And I think that's what got me sick from the Bayou Classic. I was sick this past week, the week before, didn't get a chance to make it to the SWAC championship because I got a little sick after the Bayou Classic. Y'all heard me last week. I was trying to get well, but this time of year, I may not be doing too many more shaking hands and giving hugs. Y'all be sick, man. I ain't trying. Y'all be sick and don't be telling nobody y'all got the cooties, man. And y'all pass the cooties off to me, and then here I am drinking 2 bottles of Theraflu in the bed and don't want nobody to talk to me. So I keep my distance. Maybe when it warm up, I'm back at it. But at the end of the day, if you stop and talk to me, anybody that knows me know I'm going to stop and talk back to you unless you catch me on the run. So, man, I appreciate you guys as always. I tell you, keep up with the Jaguar Journal on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on X. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. And we're on YouTube. And we're right here on Talk 107.3 FM. The big game today starting at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time back home, 12 noon here in Atlanta. It's going to be the Celebration Bowl. And I'm hyping it up because this is the big one. This is where Southern fans want to be. So if I don't hype it up the moment we get there, you're not going to look at it like that. But this is where we want to be. This is why Marshall Faulk was brought to Southern University. And it didn't matter if it was Marshall Faulk or anybody to be hired. This is where we want to be. In Atlanta, Atlanta, Atlanta. In the words of Tremaine Jackson, got to get there. Got to get there. And Prairie View got there in year 1. Now in Southern, we've watched everybody get there. We've watched Alcorn get there. We've watched Grambling get there. We've watched FAMU get there. We've watched Jackson State get there. And now we've watched Prairie View get there. We just want to get there. That's all. We just want to get there. So hopefully we get there. Much luck to Marshall Faulk in the future. I'll leave that where it is. And trust me, as the weeks unfold with the information that are coming out, I'll be sure to make sure to give that information to you guys. Not going to leave you out. Big game down in New Orleans for the state championship. How about those St. Augustine Purple Knights taking on the Etna Car? Taking on Etna Car? And see, for years, I said it wrong. St. Augustine. No, it's St. Augustine. Get it right. They haven't been to a state championship since the 70s. So that'd be a big game down there. A lot of talent on that football field. And I know for Southern fans, a lot of talent that they would love to see at Southern, as you saw Edna Carr doing that early signing day, sending guys all over the place. And that should be a big one. I'm going to be tuned in to that game today as well. I think kickoff for that down in the Superdome in New Orleans is 3 o'clock. So from New Orleans to Atlanta to all over, it's some big football, whether it's high school or college. And I thank you guys as always. You know, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I thank y'all for getting me through this show. Look, Atlanta nightlife ain't fair. It ain't fair. So for me getting up to get this show together this morning for you guys, Mike back in the studio, making sure everything good. Hey, my Cash App, if anybody want to buy me a cupcake or a Snickers bar or a bag of chips, if you got Cash App, $ P White, PWHITE 1210. That's P White, cash sign P White 1210. If you're on the YouTube and on the Facebook Live, you see it. But if you're just listening out there, I don't know, it may be some rich listener out there say, you know what, I'm going to buy Perry a cupcake today. If you that rich listener out there, cash at me. $ PWHITE 1210. I would love a cupcake. My birthday was Wednesday. Happy birthday to my mom, Michelle White. Her birthday is today. And thank you guys to everybody out there listening. I appreciate you and I love you. I'm sure I got to get ready to get up out of here. But I thank you guys for all that you do in supporting us. Be sure to keep up with the Jaguar Journal once again on X, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and as well as on YouTube. And for our listeners on radio, on Talk 107.3 FM right here in the Baton Rouge capital city area. I'm Perry White here in Atlanta. My man Mike back in the studio, CJ Gidry, wherever he may be. And to all of you guys, I hope you have a great and safe weekend and enjoy yourself. Be back next week. Y'all have a good one. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.